While I might not know how to make a $100 million business successful, I am able to speak to 6- and 7-figure businesses. So let's talk about how to make a business successful. Running a cold email campaign is one of the easiest ways, one of the most straightforward ways I've found to get new clients. We've used it to match with most of the Fortune 500 for our agency clients and a lot of billion-dollar brands we've been able to sell. We've generated millions of dollars of revenue just from cold email. The problem is if you've tried cold email, it's not as straightforward and as easy as it looks. But luckily, we have put together the cold email optimization checklist, and you can have it for free. What this is the internal tool we use to optimize our cold email campaigns. This checklist will teach you or your team when to rewrite the subject line, when to rewrite the body of the email, what to put in the body of the email, how to check the email to make sure there's no errors before the send goes out. All of that in a very straightforward checklist, and you can have it for free. To get it, go over to experiment27.com/checklist, and you can have that download. Again, the URL is experiment27.com/checklist. I'm Alex Berman. I have generated over $10 million in sales. Currently, I'm a serial entrepreneur running The Quadrant, which includes a portfolio of different companies, services business, software, online courses, things like that. If you want a successful business, you need to start with a solid idea. And by solid, I mean something that basically sells itself. That might seem like an impossible task, but it's not. The way that you find a good idea for your business is to first riff some ideas. So just kind of come up with some business ideas. Then you test them in the market using a cold email process. If you want more detail on how to do that, check out any of our free videos, or we outline it step by step in our course, Email 10K. And you evolve the idea by talking to customers until they want to buy it, regardless of your sales skills. So that's number one. You need an idea that's strong enough to fuel the entire business. It needs to be selling itself. It needs to be something that anyone can sell. Otherwise, there's too many variables. Then, number two, you find good people to help sell it. I like to use Upwork and hire people for random tasks within the business, hiring multiple people at once and quickly firing them if they fail, which is actually what I'm going to talk about in a second. But find good people. What I like to look for are people that deliver fast and deliver high quality work without having to be trained too much. If you can find that, you're solid. And what I found is it's mostly a numbers game, meaning if you have one task and you hire 5 people to do that initial task, one of those 5 or even 2 to 3 of those 5 are going to be good. And then if you hire those 3 people to do a second task, you'll find your good person. And then number 3, once you have those good people, and let's say somebody's working, doing well for a long time, and then they start sucking or results start falling, then first you'll try to train them. And then if you can't train them up, you got to fire them. We had this one sales guy at X27, which is our marketing agency, where we find and book meetings with billion-dollar brands for our clients. We had this guy who was very lovable. You know, he's a great dude. He was one of our account managers, and the clients liked talking to him. But on the technical side, he didn't really understand what was going on. So from a relationship point of view, he had a very high EQ, which is he was very good at getting along with people. But from a technical marketing standpoint, he had a lot to learn. So we told him what he needed to learn, and then we gave him some time, and he still didn't get it after 30 days. So we had to let him go. And the person we replaced him with had both the EQ and the marketing skills. So the perfect hire does exist. And it's only by making those tough decisions and getting the people out of your organization that suck, that can't do the job, that you're going to succeed as an entrepreneur. And it's not an emotional thing. I had a mentor one time tell me that firing people is actually the best possible thing you can do for them because they'll end up in an organization that actually works for them. It's not fun to know you're bad at a job. When I was at the startup in New York City that I worked for doing cold calling for local businesses, I knew I wasn't the greatest cold caller in the world. There were hundreds and hundreds of people that were better at cold calling than me. Sure, I'm doing the job every day, but I knew I was bad. I was pitching the boss constantly that I should be doing marketing stuff instead. I knew I was bad, and it hurt me inside. And quitting that job, even though my boss didn't like that I was quitting because he had to go find somebody else, was better for both of us. I ended up doing marketing at a mobile app development company. He ended up hiring one of those sales guys that's like a Grant Cardone type, master at cold calling, that was able to help their business grow. So it's actually better for both parties to get those underperformers out of the company. The next one is focus on profits over everything. I can't tell you how quickly things can fall apart if you don't have money saved away. And by things fall apart, I think worst case scenario for me is that I'd have to get a full-time job somewhere. So focus on profits first. Services, which means like if you're doing social media or marketing or something like that, I would aim for at least a 30% profit margin. And if you're doing software, it's got to be way higher, like 90 99% profit margin. That's what we get on our software company anyway. Super, super highly profitable, because if you don't have profit, there's no point in you actually doing entrepreneurship. You might as well just get a full-time job and just go do something else, because we're in this at the end of the day to make money to fund our dreams. And if you're not making money, why even doing this? You know, it's great to do stuff we love, and it's amazing to be out here in the middle of the day and not have to worry about being in an office or even worry about dressing in normal human clothing. But without the money to live and the freedom that comes along with that, it's just a huge grind for nothing, isn't it? So focus on profits first. And if you want to listen to our interview, I did a podcast with Mike Michalowicz, who wrote the book Profit First. You can check that out somewhere around. And then the last one, this one's key. Once you've been in business for a while, you'll have a bunch of services that you've been offering. You've been testing a lot of stuff in the market. You're following stuff. And if you want to know what I'm talking about in more detail here, check out email10k.com. It goes over the entire process that we use to start our companies and meet with billion-dollar brands. But once you know what works, then scale the services that clients are raving about and cut everything else. When we were first scaling X27, which was our marketing company, still our marketing company, we sold content and people kind of liked the blog posts. Then we started selling lead generation. People loved lead generation. We started selling marketing reviews and people loved the marketing reviews. But when we started doing one-on-one tactical consulting, sitting down with people and having a trained member of our team talk in depth about their sales strategies with them, that was when we started getting a crazy amount of testimonials. We started getting recommendations from people, unpaid affiliates, meaning people would just recommend clients to us regardless of whether that person was getting paid or not. It was amazing. And the goal of any business should be to find that one thing. So one, you're doing the number one thing of finding something that sells itself. And then after you've been in business for, let's say, 6-7 months, you've been talking to a lot of clients, you'll be able to niche that down even further to find the thing that's selling itself, extremely profitable for you, and that you're successful at. And once you have all three of those things, creating a successful business is simple. The hard part is mental, trying to get yourself to cut all those other services, knowing that you're gonna make money in the future, but you're gonna maybe lose money in the short term while your business figures out exactly how to survive. How to make a small business successful: find a solid idea, and if you need help testing that in the market, check out email10k.com. Then find good people. If they turn out not to be so good, try to train first, fire as soon as you can. Focus on profits over everything else. And then once you've been in business for a while, scale the services that clients rave about and cut everything else. By the way, if you want the system that we're covering in this video as a free checklist, grab the link in the description. You can have a PDF of everything we talked about. Thanks for watching. I'm Alex Berman.